Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Reasons for Rose podcast. This is a space where we discuss all things culture, lifestyle, and relationships. All brought to you from the viewpoint of two young women trying to navigate life in the six in this wonderful city of Toronto. My name is T Bells, and I'm joined by my wonderful co host,
Lauren. Cheers.
You got the rose already. You got it
I
going.
already have it ready. We're ready. Let's go.
Okay, celebrating our first episode. I'm taking a rain check on that drink because I'm going to start drinking a little bit later. You know why?
Yeah, you're waiting for that show, aren't you? The show is in pretty much like what, 3 hours? So you're gonna wait till the show goes and then you're gonna open your bottle, watch it, and then kind of see who wins, right? What show are we talking about though?
Or getting a vibe at least. So Keyshia Cole versus Ashanti is actually should be happening, but they keep finding a way to postpone it. So I'm not gonna hold my breath, but I'm ready.
Yeah, it's been a lot. Like they have canceled twice, I believe. And like at this point, people are thinking they just don't want to do it. So I'm kind of ready to see what happens. I mean, hopefully Ashanti can still sing after having COVID. I feel like, again, she might be a little rusty and say, it kind of took a number on me. It took a number on my vocals. My diaphragm ain't the same. So we'll see what happens. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't think, and this is no shade, I don't think Ashanti was coming to show off her vocals against Keyshia Cole because we know what the situation is there.
What are you saying then? What is she coming to show off?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that when it comes to vocals, Keyshia Cole is like one of the last divas of our generation. And that made me think about how Ashanti and Keyshia Cole, like they really, really represented R&B for us. Like I know everyone went crazy for Brandy and Monica, but I think that was a little bit above our time.
Definitely. Unless you're an older head in your 30s, like if you're in your 20s, late 20s, yeah, you probably weren't like, unless your mother, some people have the moms who are really hip and they were listening to that. It's possible, but yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I can appreciate 90s R&B and what it means and what a great time it was in music, but there is something about that 2000 R&B that brings back a lot of nostalgia for me. So that's what I'm excited for tonight, and I'll bust open my bottle. But what are you drinking?
So I actually have this huge bottle. I think it's so funny. It's actually over a liter. It's a liter and a half. Very basic, girl. If you can't get this bottle, I don't know where you're living in the world. It's the most basic rosé, Jackson Triggs. Huge bottle because I used this in pasta recently. Jackson Triggs rosé. It's actually a Canadian brand, so I think as long as you're, it makes sense. This is her first video. It's a Canadian brand. We live in Toronto. It only made sense. So I actually put this in some rosé pasta a few days ago, and it was so good. It's a very standard wine, not bubbly, just flat. And it's not offensive. Let's just say that. It's not offensive. It's not too sweet. It's not dry. It's just kind of like right down the center. Just like you can't not like it. So yeah, but it's definitely, it's an entry level rosé. I'm working on my taste right now. So.
Okay, so that's awesome that you actually cook with rosé. So
yeah, you have to, girl. Like you should be cooking with white wine. You should be cooking with rosé. Like if you're not putting alcohol in your meals, you're on level 1 for cooking. I'm on level 3 now.
Oh, you're on level 3? I'm on level 1 for sure. I'm on level 1 because I haven't done that yet. But
oh wow, okay, okay, fair enough.
I'm excited. I usually just gulp.
You just gulp your wine?
I gulp my wine still.
I mean, like even if you put it in Like if you're doing a garlic shrimp, you put some white wine in there. It just brings the food alive. It's kind of like when you add like balsamic vinegar, or if you ever add vinegar to a meal to add some acid, right? Like adding acid, adding lemon juice, like those things just really bring out the flavors. It takes the meal from being just too like heavy, and it kind of like gives it like a spray of like yellow. Like if taste was colors, like adding like acids like lemon, wines, all of that, it's like adding like yellow to a dark, dull painting, you know, it just like brightens everything up. So yeah, love it. Reasons for rosé, you know, rosé is kind of like in the middle. It's not red, it's not white, it's kind of like a blend, you know. And that's like me and you, we're like yin and yang, like we're similar but then we're extremely different, but we can come to a mutual ground where like, you know, I think the collaboration of the two of us actually symbolizes rosé perfectly, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
That was so poetic. I love how you said that, how you put
Not
it.
poetic justice. I should have some braids in today, but whatever. I had braids in, I had to take them out. It's quarantine. If you don't have braids in, you better have like twists or dreads in. I don't know. What am I doing with wigs and bundles on my head? Where am I going?
Well, you know, I feel like you got to do what you got to do for your mental health. And um, if you got to put yourself together to make yourself feel good, to walk to the kitchen, to the fridge, and then walk back to your bed, I don't blame you. You got to do it.
That's true. Yeah, I like that you're not telling them that I totally haven't been social distancing. Thank you for that. So, on to today's topic. We are going to be talking about Keyshia Cole, Ashanti, and how they're extremely similar in so many ways, like from their discography in terms of how many albums. Tiana has all the stats for you on that. We'll get into that. But they're so similar, right? Can you tell me more about why these two women are extremely similar and why they're being compared today and why they're going to be on Versus together? Why are they a good match?
So, like, when I first heard about the match, like, I didn't really see how they were the most compatible. But when I started looking into it, I'm like, yeah, they are poised to go against each other in a great way. And so that got me thinking. So Keyshia Cole, and this is crazy how old they are. They're not old, I'm just saying it's crazy how time flies. So Keyshia Cole's 39, Ashanti's 40. So they're kind of in the same age group. Keyshia Cole has made 7 albums, Ashanti 6 albums. Um, what else can I say? Ashanti, and I haven't verified, like, you know, gone into sources on this, but I think Ashanti's worth about 19 million and Keyshia Cole is worth half of that. And so with the Grammys, as songwriters, as two artists that have really influenced a time in R&B, that helped to define a time in R&B, you know, they are winning. Like, they have really done so much and they have so much to be proud of themselves and about. So I'm just gonna start off with that before we get into the juicy stuff. So on that level, they have achieved so much. And I'm sure in their personal life, you know, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that we don't know about. But I started thinking about how different their lifestyle choices are. So getting into it, Ashanti, I don't know if she ever claimed Nelly. Okay. And this is a conversation for another time when we talk about women claiming men. I don't know if Ashanti ever claimed Nelly, but allegedly they dated for 10 years and no children came of that relationship. No ring came of that relationship. And they went their separate ways. And Ashanti has not been tied to anyone ever since that. So all you see Ashanti doing is traveling, doing her, you know, philanthropic work, you know, doing her charity work, occasionally doing some songs here and there. And then you have Keyshia Cole, who, you know, she had a reality TV shows that led us into her life, which is, you know, really great. I like that honesty. But she had a child, she got married, I think she got married a year after having her child, and then they separated about 4 years after that, and then they got divorced around 7 years after that, and then she had another child. And then with another man, and now her and that man are not together. And so her relationships have kind of gone up and down. And so they've definitely, in their personal lives, that's definitely where Keyshia Cole and Ashanti have taken different paths. So, like, what are your thoughts on that?
One thing before we even go further, we have to keep in mind, I mean, transparency, right? So Keyshia Cole is extremely transparent. Like the fact that she had a show, the fact that the show, like showing you how she develops her relationship with her mother that she didn't grow up with, I believe. I don't believe she grew up with her biological mother, actually. So she letting us into that. And then her actually going on Love and Hip Hop with Boobie Gibson, her ex-husband, and like showing all of their dealings with co-parenting and all of that. She's extremely transparent, right? With Ashanti, like you said, she never claimed Melody. Like we speculated, we believe they're together, but she handled that relationship much more like a Lori Harvey situation where like you see her with people, but you don't know for sure, for sure. I mean, things have changed now, but overall, she doesn't really put it out there. Who knows? Like maybe Ashanti has had boyfriends. I'm sure she has. It's not like she can't get men, right? But she's a little bit more discreet with her whole like personal life. And I think that's good as a celebrity to keep people wondering. But regardless, from what we know, their directions are extremely different. Their trajectories are extremely different. I don't believe at this point Ashanti's gonna change very much, but she could still have children. Her eggs could be frozen. Who knows? But if we had to choose now, who we would rather aspire to be like, who would we rather take advice from when going about in our own life and having our love life tested through time and trials, who would you rather follow as your guide, as your mogul, as your muse between those two ladies? What do you think, T?
So it's such a hard choice because my personality type, I feel, lends itself to Ashanti. So I'm the type of person, I'm
Mm,
not confrontational in my relationships that I care about. Maybe in other aspects of my life, but in my
mm,
personal life, like if I care about you and you hurt me, I will walk away and I will wash my hands clean of you. And so there's a part of that that's kind of like a defense mechanism. And so that makes me think that is it better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all?
mm,
So that's the situation with Keyshia Cole. She has opened herself up to love, and it looks like she's done it more than once. And is it worth the pain that comes with that when she's gotten such great things out of it? She's gotten her two sons. So for me, I feel like I would take the Ashanti road, but with all the pressures from my family and friends, about having children,
yes.
I feel like the cultural pressures would be like, find a man, have a family, open yourself up to that. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. My mom would be like, I got you. I'll take care of the kids if he's not around. So, like, what's your take on it?
Yeah, so I hear you a lot. I think everybody wants to be a grandma. Everyone's like, I will take care of the kids. And I mean, at this point, I'm 27. And my dad's like, when am I gonna have grandkids? What's going on? Like, Lauren, am I the reason you haven't found love yet? Like, are you damaged? What's the problem? Are you traumatized? And I'm like,
He
I
asked,
am
he
actually.
asked you if you're
Yeah,
damaged.
I am. But these men out here are a problem. You don't understand. I even told my grandfather like 3 days ago, I said, Granddad, they're not built like y'all. They're not built the same anymore. I promise you. It's very difficult out here. So with that being said, and seeing I'm single, um, I relate to, well, I mean, it's weird because like I've dated a lot. I've had many boyfriends by now. I'm very open. Most mans have been posted on my social media. I have a boyfriend. If I have one, you know about it. If I don't, because you don't see him, right? But I think I've done the Keyshia Cole route of like giving your all, giving your heart and soul, like giving everything you got. And guess what? It still didn't work out. I'm still single now. And then it makes you a little bitter. It makes you a little jaded. It makes you kind of like, am I not good enough? Am I not that bitch? Like, who do they think I am? Like, and you look in the mirror and you're like, okay, no. It's them. It's not me. I'm good. But realistically, with that being said, I don't think I could aspire to have that Keyshia Cole trajectory. Like, I can't aspire for that because that would, to me, be seen as failure. I mean, in every relationship that ends, you feel like a failure. You feel disappointed. You feel like you let the world down. Because especially me, I be putting it out there. So it's like, oh no, it didn't work out. I bigged him up and now he's gone. So with that being said, I feel like moving like Ashanti is the winning circle. Like if you move like Ashanti, you're in the winning team. So I'm going to be on the winning team. I'm going to be on her side with it. Like I would rather be her who's a baddie at 40, looking great, still making music, still getting collaborations with like the young girl fashion lines. She like collaborates with Pretty Little Thing. She's still making songs. She's still performing, putting on teensy weensy little bikinis, and everyone's like, oh, Ashanti still got it. You know, like I would rather be her, to be very honest. By the way, for all the listeners, by now you should be done your first drink. I'm gonna pour one more because you know I'm trying to get loose. I'm trying to give you guys the real tea here, right? So we're gonna drink a little bit of wine to get the tea coming out. You know, wine.
You guys have been warned. I'm telling you that if you come with your drinks, you'll enjoy us even more. Guaranteed.
I mean, right now it's just consider it a social distance girl chat. Yeah. Socially distant girl chat.
Definitely. So there's a lot of expectations for women as they get older.
Yeah.
And especially for Black women, where I feel like there's a lot of pressure as far as like, can you have it all? And if you don't have it all, can you be happy? And so one of the examples is Nicki Minaj. So Nicki Minaj, with all her millions of dollars, being in her late 30s, I had so many men who I approached them with this topic who said to me that Nicki Minaj needs to have a child. She needs to have a child. She has everything. The only thing missing in her life is a child. And so that makes you think about who's really putting these standards and these pressures on us. And then it comes down to like, men are the ones who have established what the status quo is. And it's crazy how invested they are in what we do with our bodies. And so if you were approaching your 40s and you didn't have a child and you had the career, you had everything else, but you didn't have the wedding and you didn't have the child, do you feel like you would be content? Why or why not?
Okay, those are nice little questions you got there. So let's clarify. If you didn't have a wedding, if you didn't have a child, would you feel like a failure? Those are two separate things. So let's break that down a little further. Not everybody believes in having a wedding to have a child, and everyone believes in having a child to have a wedding. So a lot of men want to have kids. Like almost every man I know doesn't feel right if they don't have a mini me running around. I mean, especially they want a son. Most men want a son. No, I haven't met a man, at least a man of color, who has told me he doesn't want a son because the most precious thing to them is to create a miniature version of themselves. And I don't know why. Maybe it's the narcissistic ego in them. I'm not sure, but they all want it. So with that being said, me, do I need a child? No. If I met a man who had 4 kids, I mean, realistically, I'm not really checking for you at all, 0%. But let's just say, in a way, it'd be like, good. I don't need to give you no kids. Great. You have the kids. I don't necessarily need to have my own. It's not that serious. But do I need a wedding? Yes, because for me, having a wedding is validation that feeds my ego. And I understand that it feeds my ego. And that's step one, right? To grow as a human being, understanding what serves your ego and what serves your true value system. For me, it serves my ego. I need to get married because it validates me and my worth and my status as a human being, female in the society. I would feel very upset to be 50 and at least not proposed to. I just couldn't handle it. If no one proposed to me by 50, Sienna, let's just get your quick one on this. I mean, how do you feel if you made it to 30 without being proposed to, for God's sakes? I mean, I already know where you stand on that, but what do you want to share?
Because this is one of the areas that we differ. We are so different here. So I need the babies. I don't need the wedding. And so the wedding for me is definitely about a partnership, and it's about building. It is about working together to get from point A to point B. So for me, if I'm already at point B, the value of marriage, it decreases for me. And there's a lot that we can say about that. We should probably have an episode about that topic. But for me, my so much of my self-worth is based on what I can do for other people and what type of legacy that I'm leaving behind. And so as much, I would love to give birth to my own child. If that didn't happen, that would be okay, because I would be open to being a foster parent. I would be open to adopting, but I would definitely need to have the children. My brother tells me all the time that I'm just looking for a breeder. He's like, he's like, my brother is so disturbed because he's like, I'm not looking for a husband. I'm just looking for someone to give me the sperms.
So you want to be a mother.
I want to be a mother.
All right, fair enough. But like, why can't you be a stepmother?
A stepmother? So like, I, for some reason, actually there's a lot of reasons. There's what I saw, there's cultural influences, there's a lot where I thought that that was my only option. And as I get older, because I'm a little bit older than you. As I get older, I do accept the reality of the situation, that I'm most likely that my chances of being a stepmother are higher than not being a stepmom, and I would be an amazing stepmom. But I'm starting to learn that you manifest things and you can ask for what you want. And so I can ask for a man who does not have any children. That's okay. Like, I'm starting to learn that there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not evil because I want a man that doesn't have a child. But I am open if a man does have a child. So that's where
Now, let's flip the script on that, because Keyshia Cole is a woman with a child. So now, how do you feel about being a woman with two children with different men and being on the single dating market?
it is rough. It is rough. I cannot speak to that because it's not my experience. I don't have any children. I have
Mhm.
many friends who have children, more than one, by different fathers. And I think that as a man, there's you shouldn't feel any shame. There shouldn't be an issue in you taking that on and choosing that for yourself, because that can bring you lots of happiness. But there's definitely a stigma for women that have more than one child with different fathers. I do
Right,
not deny that.
right. And that's the difference, because Keyshia Cole is that woman, right? Versus Ashanti is the free agent, right? Like, not only has she never been married, but she also has no children. So I guess that's also why I would resonate with that woman a lot more, because it's a lot easier to be a free agent when you have no attachments and any ties to anybody. You're a truly single human being, right? When you have children, you can be single, your bed is single, but you are occupied, honey. You got kids. Like, you are very, very occupied. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so this is like, for me, I totally acknowledge that you and I probably should not have an opinion about this. Like, we're kind of overstepping because it's out of the realm of our experiences. But how do you feel? Like, what are your thoughts on a woman dating when she has several children with different?
well, that's Keyshia Cole's narrative right now, where she's on the single market, right? And she has the 2 children, and Ashanti doesn't have any. Again, 2 women, they're very successful in their careers, very similar careers, same industry. They're about to compete tonight. With that being said, like, I think it's great that both people can garner the same amount of success with different personal history and background. That's very important. It's important that regardless of where you come from, you can still achieve the same amount of success in life when it comes to financial, or when it comes to outreach and garnering an audience and following. They're both very successful like that. But your question, what was your question particularly? Can you rewind your question back again?
So my question was, what are your thoughts about someone that fits the demographic, fits
Right.
the characteristics of Keyshia Cole's situation?
Yeah.
Going out into the dating scene.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, well, like, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like,
That's
I
something
don't
like
know.
you and I probably cannot talk about that.
And that's where we would love to have the viewers, if you guys have any experiences with that, leave that below, because that's something that some women have experienced and some women haven't. And for us, like, both of us being women with no children, we haven't experienced that. And we'd love to know, what is it actually like? What is it like to be the woman on the Keyshia Cole side of things, where you actually have an occupancy outside of a love life? You have a family, essentially, right? But you don't have a significant other. You're single. So what is that like for you guys to actually be dating and achieving romantic success in 2021, which is what we're in now? It's hard to even believe we're in 2021 now. I mean, this is actually the craziest time as a single mother to be dating, because you have young ones at home. So if you decide to go out here in these streets, like people like to say, and go and interact with people, you have to think about your kids at home. You don't want to be bringing those germs back to your house, right? Because you have other people to think about. So I'm sure it's even harder right now. It's hard for me being a single girl already, because like the lockdown's making it very difficult. But if you have children, you have to think outside of yourself now and think, I'm putting my kids at risk, and they're vulnerable. They're young. They haven't worked on their immune systems necessarily, depending on their age, of course, but it's just so much to think about. And I feel like between me and you, like, that's a great question for our audience and our viewers, because they'll really be able to give us some insight on this topic where we fall a little bit short. Like, we can only speak from that narrative of being single and free and just being out here. And the biggest thing we have to worry about is breaking our own hearts. We don't have to think about what happens when my son gets attached to Jay, Jeremy, Tyrone, Sean, and we break up.
Yeah. And so, let's leave the viewers with this question.
Exactly.
Or I should, viewers, listeners, with the question, taking it back to Ashanti, because you and I both said that we relate more to Ashanti. And the question is this new way of being empowering? Is it aspirational, or is it detrimental, as far as women coming up? Should we be looking to these women who have decided to write their own story, decide to go after their own happiness, and they're not conforming to what are the social norms that we're used to seeing? Is this something that's beneficial to our culture, to our society, or is this something that's going to have bad consequences? Because we know the guys out here, they're mad that women are out here saying we don't need a man. They've been mad and they're getting angry. So
they can stay mad.
that's definitely something that we can come back to, but I would love to hear your opinions, your thoughts. Is Ashanti goals? Is she the new standard for what we should be going after? Should we be putting our careers first? Should we be putting our travels, our vacations in Bali and our vacations to Morocco before our search for looking for a man?
Yeah, and our search before creating a legacy through having children, right?
That's because you feel like you need a man to have children. I don't think so.
Well,
So
she has neither. She has neither. So we got to speak on her full story, which is no kids, no man. She don't got kids, she don't got a man. So that's her story. And I fuck with it. I think, you know what? Kudos to you. I like that you didn't give in to standards and go settle with some man who's doing you dirty and who you have to look in the face of your child and say, yo, daddy, he ain't it, honey. Like, I love that she doesn't have to do that. It's a great narrative, and it sucks. Nobody wants to be alone. Don't get me wrong. Nobody wants to be alone. But at the same time, you got to do what's best for you. You got to do what's best for your family. You got to do what's best for your mental health, your heart, your soul, all that. So let us know below in the comments. Let us know. You can reach out to us on our Instagram page, Reasons for Rose, or Reasons for Rose. You can't really add the accent on Instagram. Just putting that out there. So Reason for Rose on all social platforms. Follow us if you don't follow us. And again, my name's Lauren. This is T right here. Yeah. And we're gonna go and sign out. These videos are gonna stay short so we kind of like figure out what you guys like. Please let us know what you want us to actually talk about. Topics that are of interest to you, let us know. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the last what's in here. The more I drink this, the more I want to talk. It's very hard to get off this podcast, but
and I'm gonna
self-control.
I'm gonna go crack open my bottle, which is downstairs. So
and we're gonna watch the versus battle tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Oh. What do you want to hear from Ashanti?
We should have. I like that you asked me right now.
Just choose one.
What do you want to hear?
Quick.
Ooh, I want to hear Baby. I want to hear Rock With You. I want to hear... One?
Choose one. You got to choose one. So you want to hear Baby.
Rock With You.
Okay, Rock With You. And from Keyshia Cole, what do you want to hear?
I should have cheated. I should have cheated. What about you?
For me, it's Happy. I'm so happy, baby. And then from Keyshia Cole, it's You Complete Me. You hold and
it's okay. I trust that
you'll be the best you can. You love.
Yes. Oh my God, I can't wait. Yo, those songs bring all the memories. Anyway, signing out, guys. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in. Reasons for Rose. Be safe.
See you next week.
Bye. Cut. Okay, how long was that?